Yes, indeed it is. Phone number for Loveline, 1-800-LOVE-191. Fax number 310-854-4455. I'm Adam Carolla. That is Dr. Drew. Dr. Drew is a board-certified physician and addiction medicine specialist. Tonight, our guests are Caroline and Alexandra Paul. Now, I was saying to Drew last night that it's quite ironic that someone I've banned from coming on the show has been on for, I think, now your third appearance since the banning, and now you've brought your sister. Very ironic, because...
Do you have a tape of that banning? I'd play it sometime.
I really have to work out this banning policy.
It was a ban and a curse.
And our publicist is here, too.
Oh, that's right.
And you really banned.
Yeah.
Oh. Why don't you reenact it for the listeners who did it? Because I heard it.
You did?
I heard it secondhand from an incredibly unbiased source.
Yeah. One of Alexandra's Vermin buddies taped it up in, I don't know where the guy was listening. Where was he listening?
Arizona.
He's in Connecticut.
And he taped it?
He taped it.
And he sent it to you?
He sent it to me.
And you were outraged. And then you came on and demanded that I apologize, and I demanded that you apologize. And
what did we do? I gave you a big tongue kiss, and that was it.
We made wonderful love. Yeah. Yes. You showed me that big keloid scar on your belly, and all was forgiven.
Wow, you really have given up every single secret on
I've seen it all. Now, here's the thing. First off, let me just figure out a place to start. Alexandra, of course, is from Baywatch all those years, and in my mind and many viewers' minds, still on it because the show's so heavily syndicated that once you're on for a number of seasons, you're continually on. Caroline is a firefighter with the San Francisco Fire Department for 9 years and has written a book on her experience. Now, I tried out to be a fireman in the L.A. city once and could not make it. And this is when I was in good shape, by the way. Couldn't do that rope tug thing. You know, I don't know if they do that in the San Francisco one. They certainly must have something like it.
I actually talked to my buddies in L.A. They said you didn't pass the psych test.
Oh, yeah.
Tell the truth.
I jumped over the desk and tried to throttle one of the psychiatrists that was asking me the questions about my parents. But
is that true? Did you really try for the fire department?
You know what happened? I was 19 years old, and then we'll get right back on to Caroline. But I was 19.
Right.
No, we will. It's a 2-hour show. I was 19 years old. I was doing nothing. I was living in a garage. I was going to junior college.
So like right now?
Same thing. Same life. With my teeth were even bigger, my hair was even nappier back then, and I had 3 eyebrows instead of the 1 that I have now. I was doing nothing, and somebody said, you know, firemen, they get like, I don't know, they start off at like $34,000 a year, and you work 3 days on, and you have 4 days off or something. Don't correct me, by the way. This is what one of my stoner buddies said to me.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, hey, this sounds good. I mean, it's sort of like the military without having to ship out, and you get paid a little better. And I had a strong back and everything, and I used to play football, and I thought, I'm not scared of a little fire. And I went down and signed up down at the North Hollywood Firehouse. And they said, yeah, go ahead, sign all this stuff up, and we'll put you on the list, and we'll get back to you when it's when you come up. Not when you come up, but when white male comes up.
Oh, no, come on. I know how old you are. This was many years ago.
Let me tell you, there was plenty of affirmative action going on back then. I then got into the lucrative world of carpet cleaning and then parlayed that into a career in digging ditches, and then I worked my way up to carpenter. Now it's 5 years later, and I'm working as a carpenter, and I get a note in the mail that says, your test date has come up.
Are you really?
Yeah, it takes a long time.
About 5 years.
A lot of people want this.
So I went down to Hollywood High to take the written test.
And were you still in shape? Or were you out of shape?
I was drunk at the time.
Well, then that fits.
There was no, I was still in good shape. And the thing that was amazing, speaking of the affirmative action, there was a black woman standing behind me in line to get in to the thing, and we were just standing around. I was making conversation, and she said, when did you sign up? And I said, it was like 4.5, 5 years ago. And I said, when did you sign up? And she said, last weekend.
Maybe she was smarter than you.
She just filled out the application. That was all. So I went in and passed the written test, and then I was thinking to myself, Jesus Christ, I'm going to become a fireman. I don't really want to be a fireman anymore. But I passed the written because I figured, if I waited 5 years for a guy to sodomize me, I would do it. Just because I'd waited 5 years for the sodomization. So I went in past that, and then I went and took the physical, dragged that goddamn hose pack up and down like a farm animal for an hour and up these little steps. You know, they had this little 3-step thing, and they have these idiots, like, who count. You know, and you step up, you step down, you step up, you step down, and you go, that's 2, right? And they go, no, you haven't done 1 yet. And you go, what are you talking about? You got to put both feet on the ground, then you step up the 2 stairs, then you put both feet on the ground, then you step up.
It's like
is this a long story? I just want to know.
The point is I failed the rope pull.
Okay, we're back to the rope pull.
Couldn't climb up the rope.
No, there's a thing where you pull a weight on a pulley, and you have to stand back and weight up a pulley like 20 feet high, and I have no hand strength at all.
Huh.
Yeah, my magazine hand especially couldn't grip the rope, so I couldn't do it. And what was the toughest part of the physical test for you, Caroline?
You know, it was a long time ago, 9 years. But I'll tell you that the job is physical. We wear like 70 pounds of equipment before we even go to work. So
right.
Yeah, you gotta be tough. You can't be tiring out your wrists.
And the test is okay. You know what? My technique is so amazingly streamlined at this point that I just one move like that, pow.
And now we move to the Viagra jokes, which I know are coming.
So now, I wish we had a camera in here because Alexandra and Caroline are twins, and I mean they're real twins. And I don't know if twins ever grow apart physically, but they look exactly the same. Do they not, Drew?
Yes, they do.
I walked out into the little lobby area, and I wasn't sure which was which. Were you, Drew? Did you know?
No, but you did make some crack about where she gone. It was Alexandra jogging.
Oh, we're back to this again.
Oh, really?
Can we have a tape of that show? I want to hear this. I want to hear the ranting.
I wish I had it. I don't think we do. Mike, do we have that anywhere? Mike taped over it with some sort of Best of Lycus or something like that. He needs that to masturbate to when he gets home. But anyway, let's plug the book for a second. Drew, you've thumbed through the book. It's a real book. And tell us what this book chronicles.
It's basically about my adventures in the fire department, and also about what it's like to be sort of the outsider in a situation, and the people I work with, who are incredible people. Really
and do you
guys.
live in the firehouse with the guys?
Yeah.
And what?
24-hour shifts, and sleep in the same dorm and all that. I knew you were going to get to this question. So
yes.
Yeah, I opened him to that page for him.
What provisions do they make for a female?
We have separate bathrooms now.
Well, you didn't in this description, though.
No, we didn't initially.
At the beginning?
Not at all.
Right.
Yeah. I had a couple times when I walked in on guys in the urinal. It was...
Taking care of business?
It was hard because they would forget that there was a woman in the firehouse because for however many years, 20 years that they'd been in, there weren't any, and all of a sudden there was.
She says here the guys didn't mind, but the wives mind.
Yeah. Right. Well, listen, Caroline is real good looking. I mean, picture Alexandra with rope burns. And I mean that from, doing the firewoman work. And there you have it.
Rope burns, so I'm not going to tell you.
I mean, they're really the best-looking twins ever. Maybe better than the Barbie twins.
What about those twins you had on last month? The Molinari twins or
the Morel sisters?
Yeah. Do we have to go?
Okay, I'll go with the Morel
sisters.
sisters.
So low while we're talking about the book.
They're the
Quick, get back to the book.
Yes, they're the thinking man's Morel sisters. They're the Morel sisters you could bring home.
What are you thinking about? Okay.
No, not me. I'm just meant the thinking man's. All right, so the book is out in stores now.
Yeah, it is. Fighting Fire.
And how many females are there on the San Francisco Fire Department right now?
Well, there's 1,500 members, and when I first got in, there were 15 women. So it's pretty small, and now there's about 130.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you keep a diary or something? How did you do the research for this? I mean, did you? Some of it chronicles.
Some of it is research that I looked up in newspapers, but a lot of it is my own experience.
Just memory? You weren't keeping diaries as you went along?
Yeah. And I wrote letters. I had to refer back to letters.
Tell us a good story. Ever yell, "Damn it, live," and pump on somebody's chest or anything like that?
Like an ER?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Do we have a limitless...
Yes.
Vocabulary here? Yes, you do.
We do?
As long as it's
medical.
a purpose, yeah.
It's medical. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, not the F word.
No, but if she's going to describe some anatomy that...
Oh, yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, just to illuminate that we do much more than fires as firefighters, and we are called to some pretty absurd things.
Yeah.
And so one day we were called to the hospital. And it's very odd that firefighters are called to the hospital. We do medical stuff, but, doctors can handle the medical stuff. Yeah. And we're called into the emergency room, and it turns out this guy had a cock ring that wouldn't come off.
You had to cut it.
We had to cut it off. Yep.
Really?
I had to specifically.
Did you?
Well, initially I didn't, because it's not the sort of thing... I don't have very good depth perception, and I talk about this in the book. because I have a lazy eye, and that sort of makes things so you don't actually see. And you need to have depth perception if you're going to cut off a
Because it's not one of those things, they don't use that saw that you cut casts off of where it stops at the skin.
Right.
They use a real life saw.
Use the bolt cutters.
No, we actually use a saw.
Oh, you do?
It doesn't stop at the skin.
What kind of, with like a carborundum blade? You mean to cut a cock ring off?
A pneumatic saw.
Saws.
Yeah, he
Being a
does.
carpenter.
Well, they always want to walk in with the huge saws to really scare them. It is funny, but it's not funny to the person on the table.
This is in San Francisco?
Yeah.
So the guy's gay, right?
Actually,
the guy
he
with
said
the
he
ring?
put it on for his girlfriend. We didn't really believe him.
Yeah, but his girlfriend's a guy?
You know, I'll be honest with you. We try not to be judgmental as
Okay.
firefighters because
Right.
we're just there to solve the problem.
Right. They're just bodies, and either way it's burning, you got to get them out. Or they got a cock ring on,
Yeah, and we
you
got
to cut it off.
So
Right.
anyway, so then I had to cut it off. It became sort of a dare. I think that sort of turned this guy on to see like me with a saw near a penis.
Couldn't the guy get extra flaccid? I have a state where I'm extra flaccid, where I can wiggle my way out of anything. You know how like you ever see like a rat crawl through a trap and out a drain pipe or something like that, squeeze through places? You know, they disjoint their shoulders and things like that. I can do that with my penis if I need to escape.
Yeah?
I have Houdini's penis. That's right.
Well, maybe,
You don't have to dignify that with an answer. It was more of a
I'm just warning
comment.
maybe a cock ring never would get stuck on yours.
Ooh.
You've been at him before.
All right, so if there's enough duct tape, I think I
At
could
any rate,
pad
as
it.
firefighters, we do a lot of bizarre things.
And this is one of the stories that's chronicled in the book.
That is one of them. There's a lot of fire stories, a lot of
You guys have to see the same
group
stuff
hugs before a fire.
we see in ER emergency rooms with the stuff up the rear end.
To get the jaws away?
Do you get the same answer I always get when you ask them how it got there?
They sat on it?
Every time.
Really?
That's the answer they give every time.
You ever have to pull anything out of anyone's ass?
I have yet to do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Drew, you want to talk about some of your harrowing experiences pulling stuff out of people's asses?
I'd rather not.
All right, we'll go to the phones and we'll continue talking about the
Clearly,
book.
I'm now an expert on Loveline issues.
And
having cut off a cock ring.
Are you currently? Have you taken some time off with the book tour
Yeah,
and
I want
that
a
sort
book
of thing?
tour. I go back to work next week.
Okay.
Does anybody at work have a problem with the book? I mean, are they taking issue with you doing a book?
You know, I don't know how my fellow firefighters are, because I left before it hit the shelves, but I've gotten letters from all around the country from firefighters.
Supportive.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they get to do those
you would think.
hunky calendars, so why shouldn't she write a book?
There you go.
Joe, you're 21.
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
I just had a question. I was hanging out with a buddy over the weekend, and we kind of took, well, supposedly his father had a prescription for Viagra, and we took this pill, and our girlfriends came over, and, well, you know, the normal thing happened, and it wasn't anything than what I had heard about, and...
Well, what are you describing?
Well, supposedly this pill is supposed to, you know, help you with, like, impotence.
Yeah, if you have a problem achieving an erection, it can help establish erection.
Right. Well, I have no problem with that. It's just that I've heard it's been good for, like, a couple hours. And we took this, and it wasn't really anything out of the ordinary, but after a few hours, I got, like, a really pulsating migraine headache, and I just got really sick to my stomach.
Interesting. What dose did you take?
Well, just one.
What, 25 or 50?
Well, I'm not sure. It was his father's.
What are they normally?
50 is sort of what they're touting to be the starting dose, but some people get 25s. Well, I'm sure obviously it was the Viagra.
Yeah.
Do you have a history of migraines?
No, nothing like that at
Did
all.
you develop any visual disturbances?
Well, besides the headache, I had to lay down. The only thing that would even soothe it, sort of, was to just shut my eyes.
And this lasted for how long?
Probably a good 3 to 4 hours.
And they just went away spontaneously?
Well, slowly.
And you've been okay since?
Yeah, this was Saturday.
Very interesting. This is more...
Why is that interesting?
Because we don't know.
Boring to me.
Well, but because this is one of what we're going to find to be undoubtedly potential side effects of this medication. I mean, it's a medicine that's been sort of unleashed on the public in a wholesale fashion before we really know what the spectrum of side effects are going to be.
Yeah.
So every day you hear about more side effects, and of course when you use a medication inappropriately, all you're going to get is the side effects, which is what Joe's situation has been.
Yeah, I got to get hold of some Viagra myself. I haven't. I don't have any erectile difficulty, but I'm not going to let the whole craze come and go before I get one. I made that mistake with Quaaludes, Drew, and I'm never going to make it again. This whole Quaalude thing came and went. I never took one. Drew has to tell me all these Quaalude fueled stories of his high school and college days, but I have nothing to compare it to. Right, Drew?
Oh yeah, of course.
All right.
Alexandra and so boring and slow.
Alexandra and Caroline Paul are both here. They're the pretty twins, and Caroline's got herself a book.
Oh, there we go.
Alexandra, have you written a book?
I wrote an educational film last year, which is on PBS.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He doesn't watch PBS.
Called Jam Packed.
PBS.
Didn't I come in and
Jam-packed.
publicize it? Oh, you love that, don't you?
It's gay porn. It's really what jam-packed is.
It's an educational film about overpopulation.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that. Yeah, I'm into that. I'm into that control myself. As a matter of fact, I'd like to take it a step further. I want people already born to start being taken out. I forget about
You're
birth
insane.
control. Don't worry, I'd save you.
Thank you.
Caroline, you'd go though, because I got two of you. Yeah, we don't need two of you.
Right.
Jeff,
Yeah.
what's up?
Well, I'm kind of having trouble, like, talking to girls and stuff.
Okay, what's the problem?
Well, it's like today, I was out there and I was talking with some of my friends and stuff, and there was, like, a lot of girls sitting there, and I walk away, not just around the corner, and as soon as I leave, they start talking about me.
How do you know that?
I was listening in.
And what were they saying?
They were saying stuff like, you know, he's just an ugly guy, and, I mean, they used the exact words ugly, and...
Oh.
And I think one of the main reasons is because I have like a 5-inch fro.
They use the word fro?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a white guy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you had, Adam.
I had like a 7-inch fro.
So you tried to brush to the side.
You have that nappy hair?
Yeah.
No.
Can't try and slick it back; it just bounces right back
Yeah,
up.
that's a curse. You got to go with that perm look.
Yeah.
So you think it's your afro, really? Is that part of it?
I think that's part of it.
Have you ever thought about cutting it short? I love men with really short hair. Like Drew and Adam have very short hair, and I think
really?
it's sexy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you ever thought about cutting it short?
I actually had it cut short before, and I look really stupid.
Did you?
I look like I'm like a dropout out of a boot camp.
You know, it's just amazing how cruel
Kids.
16 and 15-year-olds can be at a time
And girls
when
in
people
a group.
Yeah.
time when
Girls in a
people are so sensitive to that sort of stuff.
You know,
I mean,
I know this wouldn't have been apropos a few weeks ago, but I feel compelled to say, don't come back and shoot anybody. They were just kidding, right, Jeff?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just want to make sure.
No, I'm a very romantic guy, and
you will have the last laugh. Rest assured. I know it doesn't help anything right now.
No.
Well, look, everybody goes through an awkward time. High school's a bitch and all that. But
why'd your pictures up on the internet? Why just mine?
there's too much fro.
Were your
They don't
pictures
fit
up
on the internet.
Oh,
Are you naked?
no. But as a high school.
Look, listen, I'll do. Oh, I don't have my wallet on me. I look like a
Jeff.
racer had my driver's.
Jeff,
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that I would basically stay away from those
Those
girls
people,
who aren't
yeah.
nice, because there's a lot of nice girls in school that you might not notice at first, but I would hang with people who are nice, and if they're laughing at you, just don't even bother with them. Don't be mean to them, but don't try and make friends with them. There's too many other nice people, I'm
Yeah.
sure, at your school.
And life isn't fair. It's a bitch, but that's all right, because the beautiful people that have everything handed to them and have guys lining up to ask them to the prom, and the guys that are captains of the football team, they end up being sort of weak-spirited when they get out of high school, because they didn't have to fight and claw and scratch, and they don't have that fire in their belly. I don't know where you two got that fire in your belly. You're both always you're both always real good-looking, right? I mean, you look like you look now.
No.
Sure you did.
No. I think.
Please.
No, I
no
would.
one
You had
looks
plenty
good
of
in high
guys.
school.
No one
Nobody
does.
looks good
No,
in
some
high
people
school.
did, but you know, the people who look
Really?
good in high school don't look so good when they
they're
are
adults.
older.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Because
don't know what
think
that
they
is.
take it for granted. Did you go back to your high school reunion at all?
Mm-hmm.
Did you, Adam?
Yeah, I
You
did.
didn't really go to high school, did you?
I didn't pay attention, but I did go.
So what was it like? Wasn't it kind of interesting to see
Well,
how people turned out?
Most of the guys that were sort of the jocks had put on some weight and lost a little hair, and most of the guys that were sort of nerdy have sort of bought their way out of nerddom now, because they were good students, and then they ended up going to Berkeley, and they got some sort of computer thing, and they opened their own firm, and now they were like 28, 30, and they're driving around a Porsche, and they're wearing a $400 blazer.
Well, because they had
And
the fire
they
in
look
their
good.
belly.
So you're telling Jeff he should just be good in school?
Yeah, I mean, just focus on whatever it is you do well, and stop trying to hang out with those. Don't do the activities, and don't hang out with the people that don't make you feel too good about yourself. Do things you excel in, and hang out with some of the unattractive people. Don't worry, they make you feel better, and they're much better at oral sex. Am I right, Drew?
The hell are you talking about?
Unattractive people are better at oral sex in general. Wouldn't you say that? I think
Is that
the
from
Paul
all your?
sisters.
Is that from all your unattractive girlfriends? You know that
Yes,
for a fact?
that's right.
Yeah.
I've done extensive field research.
Right.
All right, Alexandra and Caroline Paul are both here. Caroline has herself a book out. Alexandra's got a PBS special no one cares about. We're not going to talk about that. But we'll talk more about
You
the
have
book.
to say the title of the book so people can go out to the store.
Fudge packing?
No, forget me.
the
Forget
book.
me. This
Yeah.
is about Caroline.
Fighting Fire.
Yes.
I'm sorry. All right, we'll be back.
Loveline.
Yes, you is. And this is them. Phone number, 1-800-LOVE-191. Fax number. Oh, screw that fax number. Alexandra and Caroline Paul are both here. Alexandra, you know, from Baywatch. And Caroline is a firefighter, 9-year veteran, San Francisco Fire Department. Wrote herself a book. Good-looking book. Got a sort of ghostly picture of her on the front. A bunch of guys humping hose there and putting out a flame. And it's big. It's chunky. And it basically chronicles her life as one of the first female firefighters, not only in San Francisco, but I'm guessing 9 years ago there wasn't that many on the national level either. And by the way, they don't change the test for the ladies, do they? And
They've changed the test since it was all male. It's a very long and involved conversation about that, but
yeah,
But basically,
it's a
the
tough
test-
physical
the-
test.
The physical test wasn't job.
yeah, they found that the tests in the past, couple decades weren't job related. I think people hadn't done a lot of, tests on tests.
Right.
Basically. And so they found that, they were doing things like, bench press this. Well, bench press, we never do that as firefighters.
Oh, I should wage a complaint. I could have been a firefighter now.
So they've changed the test to make them job related. Now that's
Right.
that's up to,
But it's still
that's arguable.
You
I
drag
think.
the ladder, you drag the hose pack, you do a lot of, you put on all this equipment and climb up a million flights of stairs.
Yeah.
You ever see these firemen competitions?
Oh, people die of heart attacks during those.
You want to know the people are
do.
dying of heart attacks? People down the street while these a-holes are having a fireman
I know,
competition in some
really.
parking lot somewhere, lighting their own fires, by the way. Meanwhile, there's some guy in an old folks' home a quarter mile away, can't get help. Been dialing 911 for the last
the
hour.
junior varsity firefighter team because the varsity team.
Right, he gets the guys with the guy says Cubby, right on the jacket. The guy rolls in and starts performing CPR on his ass. True?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm very excited to
Forgot
have
to
the
say
Paul
the name
sisters.
of the book.
You really are.
Oh, yeah.
Fighting fire.
Yeah, Alexandra knows how to plug. Fighting Fire, yes, is the name of the book. You really can't miss it. It's really one of the only books that looks like it's on fire. Look at that, Drew.
Yeah.
Hit a pot and you go run out of the house. You see that, right?
Yeah.
All right. We ready to move on here?
Here we are.
Oh, we are. Daniel.
Or Danielle.
Danielle.
Yeah,
You're 18.
yeah.
What's going on there?
Me and my best friend's been best friends for like December, and I just recently found out that I'm like madly in love with him, but he's gay. Like, how can I like tell him what's like of him hurting me and hurting my feelings?
How can you tell him you're gay? How can you tell him he's gay or that you love him?
How can I tell him that I love him?
How does one find out that one's madly in love? Somebody tell you were? You know what I mean? How did that
My
come
heart
about?
did like a couple months ago.
So you started getting more intimate types of feelings for him.
Yeah.
What was the nature of your relationship at that point?
Do what?
What was your relationship like at that point? Was it real close, spending a lot of time together?
Yeah, we like see each other like almost every day.
Okay. And does he have any idea these sorts of feelings are developing?
No.
Did he tell you that he was gay?
Yeah.
By the way, when a guy tells you he's gay, either he's gay or he's trying to get you away. Either way, you're screwed as far as the relationship goes. I mean, either he's motivated by either truth or by trying to compel or repel you. But either way, it's not a good sign. Hey, Danielle. Danielle. Where's your dad?
He left my mom before I was born.
I have this theory about women that get real excited about gay men.
Unavailable.
Yeah, they're the same women who date married guys, which is anybody they fall in love with is unattainable. They just can't be done.
Yeah.
And there's no more unattainable man than a gay man. Lord knows. I know firsthand.
But see, he's dated women before in the past, and he was engaged to her, but I guess he found out that he didn't like her that much or
But
something.
Danielle, he found out he's
Found out
homosexual.
about the cooties.
He's gay. I mean, he's gay. He is into man, and you're not going to change that. And if you try to change that, you're only going to end up getting hurt yourself in the long run. If he, some gay men will cling to the idea that they could ultimately sort of live what you might call the American dream, that they'll have a family with a woman, and they force themselves into that mold. That is a real unsuitable decision. That's not a good thing for people to do. They end up lying to themselves, lying to everybody, and ultimately their real feelings do come through.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's hard enough to be a young gay man, and I think the best way you can support him, if you love him, is to let him be gay and support him. Let him talk to you about how he feels, and not try and.
But if she were just the friend, that would be great advice. But she has to deal with her own feelings of wanting to sort of consume him in this relationship, and it's all about, indeed, as Adam says, not being able to attain the relationship.
Yeah, and the more time she hangs around him, the more she's going to lust after him
Right, the more
because of how
difficult it's gonna be.
unobtainable he is.
So are you saying she should?
I think some time off.
I don't think she needs to boycott the guy, but I think she needs to sort of back off a little and not take it. You know the difference in a relationship that you have with someone of the opposite sex between the ones where they're sort of motivated by some inkling of sexuality and those that are totally just on an even playing field. The ones that have that aren't sexually charged at all, even if you don't admit it to yourself, the ones that aren't charged at all, you end up talking to the person once a month. The ones that are, you end up going out to lunch 2 or 3 times a week, and you don't even know why you're doing it. Do you know what I'm saying?
There's more energy.
There's a lot more energy.
Are you thinking that you could change him? Is that part of it?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Do what?
This is Caroline. Are you thinking that you could change him, or are you pretty much realize that he's gay and you just want to try to handle your feelings?
Well, I was hoping that I could change him, but I don't know if that's possible.
Maybe you could get your dog to go vegan while you're at it.
Hey, Danielle, take it from me. I'm gay, and if I could be straight, I probably would pick it because it's so much easier a life. But it's really not something that is in my opinion, is a choice. If he's gone so far as to tell you he's gay, then that's a pretty big step, and so he probably means it.
But I think that's the point, is that it is hard for people, especially at that age, 18, to really come to terms with it, and they trick themselves or push themselves into doing things that might end up in a heterosexual environment just to try to deny the fact their real feelings.
Hold on, Alexander, do you have to be gay too eventually now?
Because
she's my
Caroline's
it's
my identical twin.
Interesting study about the biological aspect.
I read that.
Yeah.
We know, we
doesn't
actually know
really
a lot of-
correlate.
In
Does it?
twins?
Yeah, it
Interesting.
doesn't. There's not a high correlation.
You get a
We
six
actually
pack
know
in
a lot of
Alexander, I'll show you some
that are-
correlation.
We know a lot of twins
Oh yes.
who have, who one's gay, one's straight.
Interesting.
Yeah, we
Identicals,
do a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Female or male, or does both?
Both.
I know, both.
I know both.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I was watching a special on
That's just fascinating.
Club.
Somebody did some study on this.
Did you
They
read
do
the
have-
twins
They do?
book? It says there's only they find out that there's no correlation. It's like a 50-50 chance of your sexuality. And I also think sexuality changes, so I understand that.
Caroline
This is
has a
another
huge
step.
crush on Tom Cruise.
Yes,
and she
I
won't
do.
stop talking about it.
Yes.
Really?
I have a huge crush on Drew, too.
Really? You'd go over to the dark side for Drew?
So, at any rate, I think people's sexuality really changes. So, I mean, you could wait 20 years and go back and ask him, but if he's telling you he's gay now, then as an 18-year-old.
And the guy doesn't need more confusion. Are you married, by the way? Is that a wedding ring?
It is.
You're wearing?
Well, I've been with my partner for 5 years. This is not a wedding ring. It's I'm
Commitment
taken.
But you can get
Please
married,
don't-
right?
Not legally, no.
You can?
Mm-mm.
Even in San
Almost.
Francisco?
Almost. in this day.
No.
And where
It's okay.
can
I
you? In
don't believe
Hawaii
you.
or
Hawaii,
something?
right?
Yeah, but what about
Hawaii,
you?
yeah.
you-
Actually, she's
And in some
Hawaiian,
churches
so
you can get married.
She is?
yeah. Well, she's a mix, but she's from Hawaii.
Interesting.
Really? And she must be good looking, huh? She wear that grass skirt
She's
and
a
everything
bit-
around the house? She's not one of those big Samoan ties with the
Yeah,
big
I
ankles.
play the colonial white person taking over.
Oh.
Island girl.
That is a great. Oh, that is a great scenario. That is a great sexual fantasy. Show me your ways. Put the apple in your mouth and get on the spit. All right.
Stop while your head
It's a
out.
little luau humor.
Yeah, I know.
Well, let me ask you one more question. Shouldn't you get married just so you can get some benefit? So you could, like, if something happened to you in the line of duty, she'd get some benefits, or for tax reasons, or something like that?
That's the whole argument as to why these things should be acknowledged.
Right,
legally.
which I
Right.
agree. I agree. I think it's only fair that if there's a union, you know, married people get all these, they do get benefits, and if someone suddenly gets bonked on the head and is in the hospital,
Right.
their partner then has a right to go see it. My family loves Trish. She's like their other daughter, so if anything happened to me,
Since they disowned Alexandra.
I'm fairly
Well,
sure
that's
that
a surprise to get
she
rid of the
could
straight
visit-
one.
We're an unconventional
Talk about a
family.
progressive group.
I know.
You take you and your heterosexuality and get out of my house.
Well, hey, I've been with my partner for 5 years, so I'm the stable one.
Right.
And get this, my mom is looking to us for grandkids, so she knows about the turkey baster.
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding?
My
you
parents
have
are progressive.
you two could come out at the same time, right? Different.
Yeah, why
You know,
not?
we're kind of thinking that my brother will impregnate Trish.
Yeah, it's very
And that way we'll
complicated
get Paul
family
Jeans in
dynamics.
there. This has been
Oh, now
the
it's
next
getting
call,
now it's
please?
getting a little messy.
I think the next call is going to be my mom.
Morgan,
Yeah.
you're 17.
Yeah.
You're on with Alexandra and Caroline Paul.
Hi, Morgan.
I just want to say, Caroline, I read your book last week, and I absolutely loved it. I totally want to be a firefighter and, like,
Wow.
in the Fire Explorer program, and I kind of have a similar background. Like, my mom's a lawyer, my dad's a civil engineer, so it's not, like, the total, like, traditional thing like you had talked about. And I just totally admire, like, your way of life and just how life to you isn't about fitting into, like, a certain society and stuff like that. It's about exploring different parts of who you are and everything.
Who turned you on to the book?
Well, I was in Barnes & Noble, and I was leaving with another book. My boyfriend's like, oh, check it out. And so I got it, and I read it.
Morgan, was it in the true crime section? Because I've heard they're putting it in the true crime section.
No, it was like some table in the middle.
Awesome. Well, you're awesome. Thank you so much. That was really sweet of you. I really appreciate that.
Thanks.
And good luck with your firefighting stuff.
Thanks so much.
Sure.
There's no pictures in this book. I'm sorry, but that's not a book.
He doesn't read books.
Hey, Morgan, how old are you?
Oh, let's go.
I like one that pops
Morgan?
up.
Morgan, are you still there?
17.
Yeah, I am.
She's 17.
How old are you?
17?
All right, so you're in the Fire Explorer program and you're still in high school?
Yeah, I am.
Good for you. Are you working out a lot?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to college next year and everything, and there's a volunteer fire department, like, right in this town. I mean, it's like I'm going to Pennsylvania, and I live in California now. And, so, I mean, I'm hoping to get into that next year and everything.
You're awesome. What do your parents think?
Well, basically, if I go to college and everything, then they're okay with it, you know, as long as I don't, like, get all, like, single-minded on must be firefighter type of a deal.
Yeah, good idea, because a lot of firefighters I knew, they have other jobs, you know, so good for you. Congratulations.
Well, it's a job where you can have other jobs because you have a few days off
Morgan,
a week to pursue things, right?
This guy thinks we don't do anything as firefighters.
You go in there,
Go,
you
tell him.
eat
You tell him. He doesn't
macaroni and
listen to me.
cheese, you play backgammon. Once in a while. I like when the fire guys are smoking out front of the firehouse. So it's a certain tragic irony there. But
I don't know about L.A., but in San Francisco, we're on the
a lot of
move.
fires.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you get those big quakes. What about did you just miss the quake of 89?
Yeah, actually, yeah, it's in the. Actually, that was pretty defining factor. Not defining, but I was.
That was about 9
trying
years
to figure
ago,
out
right?
Whether to be a firefighter or not,
Right.
given that I was.
But you were living in San Francisco
Yeah,
at the time?
I had graduated and I had gone up to the city.
Where do you go? I mean, in terms of how do you work your way up the ranks? Is it different than like the police force or something?
No,
like
it's, you
that?
know, you take tests. I'm not interested in being an officer myself.
You're
I
not?
think it's a tough job and a lot of responsibility, and I only have 9 years in. I'm not totally a rookie. And also
9 years doesn't sound like a rookie.
Yeah, well, in this job it is.
And what's the starting pay in San Francisco for a fire person?
37.
Hey, Caroline had a radio history, too.
She did?
Yeah.
KPFK.
Yeah.
Really?
KPFA up
Excuse
in
me.
San Francisco. Yeah.
What was
See,
it?
I was on the road to being a Loveline guy.
What were you doing?
Jockeys?
Talking about? I don't
Jocks?
know.
What?
was it? Like some sort of lesbian gardening show or something? What were you talking about?
What was I? What do you mean? I was a morning anchor on a very radical left radio station.
Really?
Yeah. KPFA. It's the sister station to KPFK down here.
Yeah, I know, where they just...
Where you lock the doors and we tell the protesters where to go from the radio.
Every time I turn on one of those stations, it's always urgent plea from Edward James almost begging for money. You listen to the station, you enjoy the station, now they need you.
We had a secret code where all the lesbians knew exactly what I was saying, but nobody else did.
Send in $50, we'll give you a mug that says has the call letters. Whoa, $50 for a mug? You kidding? Go down to A&PM, I get one with a large coffee. All right, Alexandra and Caroline Paul are both here. They both look exactly alike, by the way. Although, and I guess I would tell you there was no difference between the two of them 45 minutes ago when I met
now
him.
He knows I'm gay, so now he's like, hey, she
That's
just
right.
seems a little. I can't. She's
got an
different.
edge to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's very bitter. This one. Keep an eye on her, Drew. She's angry.
She's angry, right?
Very angry.
She hates men. Yeah, I hate.
She's gonna either hit me with acoustic guitar or Birkenstock when I'm not looking.
Okay. I do not hate men. I have a renewed respect for men. And what you guys have to go through in the long, intricate courtship with women.
Oh,
okay?
I know. They're a pain in the ass.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I know. You've walked a mile in our shoes now, haven't you?
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, let me just ask you before we go to break. And don't take this the wrong way, but in a relationship, no, but I mean,
who's the man and who's the woman?
Yeah,
Don't
that's what I want to
know. God,
who's playing Papa?
If anything, I want to be.
Please.
You know why?
I mean, you got to take one's got to be one, right?
Because, huh?
Like, if you both rented a tandem bike, who would be up front? Who'd be steering?
We'd probably fight over it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, definitely.
So there's no sort of role playing. Someone's a little more submissive than the next. Someone maybe has a little more feminine
just
qualities
you're the woman
or something
in the
like
relationship.
that.
Don't
that's just with me and Drew, though. Yeah. When I go home, I'm all man. All right, Alexandra and Caroline Paul are both here, and name of the book, Drew?
Firefighting.
There you go. Wow, got a rise out of Drew. We'll be back.
This is Loveline.
This was a show I really
How long did it take you to write it?
That's what I want to hear.
Huh?
Yeah.
How long did you know to shut him up? It's good.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to write it?
A year and a half.
Of daily work, weekly? Was it just
pretty
a
much?
constant?
I'm pretty, disciplined.
But every day you had to sit down and do some writing.
Yeah, it's easy. It's easy. I mean, the stuff that's in there is just, it's absurd. Some of it, and it's crazy, and it's easy to write because it just sort of writes itself.
When you're in the firehouse with the boys, are there divisions?
Is this a sex question?
Yeah, not really,
Okay.
but sort of. Are there divisions between the cots, or are they all
I gave
just?
you a whole paragraph about that.
Oh, for Christ's sake!
Read it. After we
Well, you pointed at a page. It was all filled with words. I didn't know where to begin.
When I first got in, there was no divisions. It's just rows of beds.
Yeah, like in the military.
Yeah, exactly like that. And then usually, you pick a bed that's pretty. No guy nobody wants to sleep right next to anybody.
No, because
It's not a
that's
gender thing.
he's masturbating on the clock. That's the beauty of being a fireman. When you're on the clock, you're on the clock. Think of that. I'd be getting paid to pleasure myself. Drew, I'm not going to read this whole page. Underline something that has to do with cots and masturbation.
I'll just surmise it.
Steve.
Yeah.
You're 28.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Not too much. I just called I got a couple things I'd like to say.
Yeah.
First of all, I listen to you guys every night. I work third shift at a gas station.
Really?
Yeah. Secondly, goes to Alexander. Everybody raves about Pamela Anderson. Well, in my opinion, you are much better looking than she is.
Oh, thank you so much.
Amen.
That's very sweet. I think Pamela's beautiful, but I appreciate that you think I'm beautiful too.
Well, Alexandra was saying during the commercial that she thought she was better looking than Pamela, and it's nice that somebody's echoing.
Oh, I appreciate that
statements.
very much.
Hey. Wow.
And the third thing is, I believe his name was Jeff that called.
Yeah.
Said he was having problems with the girls. Well, I kind of went through that same thing when I was in school.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's still listening, but I just wanted to tell him, just stick in there and keep going with people that are really nice to him, because I've ran into some girls that I went to school with that would not have the time of day for me that they're wishing that they would have now.
Well, now they see you're working graveyard at the Mohawk. Their attitude has changed 180 degrees.
No, I think that's really good advice. That's great advice.
It's not so much that,
Where are you calling from, Steve?
Yeah.
Where are you calling from?
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh, okay. Yeah, women, time is a great humbler for women. It's really the kind of society we live in. Women are much nicer at 30 than they are at 18 when it comes to the guys.
Yeah, because I think they just, I don't know.
Well,
you get humbled.
Here's the reality is women have a shelf life that's a little shorter than guys. Now, please, let's...
life expectancy, but substantially longer.
All right, shut Drew's mic off. I've had enough of
socially,
his rhetoric.
Is that what you're saying? Socially,
what I'm saying is, and please, I know you two could team up and kick my ass, and actually I'd probably enjoy that. But don't kill the messenger here. I'm telling you how society works here. Women have some prime years, and it's somewhere between maybe 15 and 35. You guys are still in there.
Oh, he did that because we're 34.
Yeah, you did, didn't you?
No.
You still have me on the show in 2 years?
Probably
yes.
Not. Oh, yes. Listen, you got another 8 years tacked on there for namesake because, guys say, yeah, I nailed that chick from Baywatch. I mean, that's huge. That's a big feather in any man's cap. So my point is as you grow closer, and let's face it, in our society, a 45-year-old woman is not nearly as attractive to the opposite sex as a 45-year-old man.
It's when you're 18 and you're a woman, you've got everybody, all men are interested in you, basically, from 50 on down. And when you're 45 and a woman, it's harder. There's a smaller pool of men because men usually pick younger women to be their partners.
They're looking at that other 18-year-old that you no longer are.
That's right. That's right. So
does that mean Jeff has to wait till he's 45?
No, it's just as women approach that age, as they start heading down the backside of the mountain, they get nicer and nicer with each turn of the calendar.
And
they do.
And men were nice.
And then they get bitchy later on again.
Poor men, they were nice
when the men start having to use Viagra, that's when the women get bitchy.
That's right.
Yeah.
And menopause sets
Thanks,
in, and they all become
that was
witches.
Great advice.
All right, Sean.
Yeah.
You're on with Alexandra and Caroline Paul.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi. How you doing?
Hey, Sean.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to, did you say, your name is Caroline, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have the article in the Reader's Digest?
Yeah, that was mine. It was a condensation of the book.
Okay, yeah, because I thought it was a really good article. I kind of want to commend you on everything you've done as far as getting into the fire service.
Thanks, Sean. I appreciate it.
And I kind of have a different perspective. I'm a white male, 25 years old, been trying to get on the fire department for about 3-4 years. And right now I work for an industrial fire department, and it's a lot harder, I think, than what maybe you were saying. And as far as I think they do give preferences a little bit more, or they have lowered the standards of a lot of the tests now. We have a bunch of girls that me and a few of my friends who are applying for the fire department know, who have made it, in certain areas where we haven't, and it's kind of shown that they have lowered the standards a little bit. I know about 10 years ago it was probably a little bit different.
Are they changing them though? Are they different for you than they are for the ladies?
What they're doing is they're giving a lot more time sometimes to complete the physical agility. You can come, everybody. There's a date that you can come and you can take a practice test, and everybody can do that. White males, minorities, females, but the minorities and females are encouraged to take the opportunity to do that. And we know a couple girls that have taken that, and then it's just more of they get to take more practice, and I mean, I don't really need the practice to take it, but at the same time, I've had girls that have, I finished 6th, they finished 16th overall, and they've gotten hired.
All right, well, hold on a second, Sean, because we're running a little bit late for break, but this is an interesting question.
I think it's a really good question, Sean, and in fact, and I really do. I feel wow, you've been trying for 4 years. That's really awesome, and you should keep trying. And I know that there's a lot of frustration over the affirmative action because obviously as a white male, you feel hey, it wasn't me who was sexist and racist for all those years. I'm an individual. I should be treated as such. But just as a one point, it is very hard for everybody to get in. No question. You agree with that, right? Because there's tons of people. When I took the test, there were 6,000 that signed up. About 3,500 decided to actually take the test, and out of that, 250 were picked. So no matter what, the numbers are overwhelming for everybody.
It's a difference between sort of bad odds and staggering odds.
No, but I would agree that for sure that there is affirmative action at work, and
it seems to be. We got to go to break, but we'll get back into
Sean,
this.
You see that? We're not talking about sex, so he's going to break.
Well,
this is an important.
I'm telling you. Can I get fired, Drew?
Just go to break.
Okay. Oh, Mike's still off.
Stay on.
We'll get into it because it's an interesting topic and people feel passionate about it both ways. I know you guys think you're leaving at the top of the hour, but you got to stay for one more break. All right?
I'm staying.
Oh, you are?
I'm staying.
Oh, okay. I thought they were staying.
You want us to go.
No. You're staying. You're staying for till 12:30. You're gonna detail my car after the show. All right. We'll be back. We're starting. Talk to Drew. He doesn't do anything around here. Phone number. Screw that. Listen, we got to take a little 10-second break, and then we'll be right back with the Paul sisters. It is Loveline. Fighting Fire is the name of the book. Caroline Paul is the name of the firefighter who wrote the book. Alexandra Paul is the name of her twin sister. Baywatch is the name of the show. You probably best know her from, unless you watched that Fudge Packin' special she had on PBS some months ago. And we have an issue, which is affirmative action, that we wanted to talk about. I think everyone who's listening is pretty familiar with affirmative action. It seems to be more prevalent, or maybe this has just been my experience, in the ranks of the firefighters. I knew a guy named Jeff Gaines, who's now a firefighter. This guy was a guy who I worked construction with for many years, but the poor son of a bitch was in purgatory because all he ever wanted to be is a fireman. He took fire science classes at the junior college. He was over at the Topanga volunteer fire department for many years. He used to go to the Topanga fire department and like train on weekends. This guy was a real nut, you know. Way back to the back of the list, and even though all he did was eat, breathe, and drink fire and train, and there's no doubt that if there was a fire, you would want my buddy Jeff Gaines coming through that front door, and not the little Filipino woman who was standing behind me when I took the test at Hollywood High. It was
big liar.
She's Eskimo, whatever she was.
Okay.
The point is,
well, let me
you would want Jeff Gaines to do this, but I understand it's been a boys' club for many years, and they have to do things to try to rectify that, and sometimes that means guys like Jeff getting screwed.
And Sean, who called. And I'm
right.
sorry you hung up, Sean, but I'll speak to you anyway, because I do think that you have a really valid point. And basically the thinking behind it is that for very many years there was affirmative action for white males, basically, because blacks weren't allowed to apply. First one in San Francisco didn't get in till... I mean, by 74, I think there were only 5 blacks in the San Francisco Fire Department. I'm a little fuzzy on the numbers. Women weren't allowed to apply till 76. The first one came in 87. I mean, those are the statistics. So there's this catch-up game that's being played, and it feels very unfair. And it is unfair in some ways. But it's been unfair, I guess, for people for, basically in the San Francisco Fire Department, 120 years. That's how long we've been around. But then you have your second question about, okay, given that it's unfair, at least you want people who are able to get in. I guess that would be your addendum, Sean, if you were still...
Well, as a society, you just want the best trained, most highly qualified personnel to come to your house, especially when it's on fire.
And I think that the testing process in a lot of places has been compromised because factions are fighting and people end up saying, okay, we'll give in on this if you don't give in on this. And they need a rush of numbers because they're under some legal mandate that some lawyers who don't understand what firefighting's about and seem to think that, any woman can do this job or any person.
So you're saying that the test has been sort of adjusted to make it a little, not easier, but more hospitable to women.
Well,
in some places.
What I am saying is that there was the problem of job-related tests. A lot of these tests, I mean, in the San Francisco Fire Department, a lot of promotionals were multiple choice. That's it. Multiple choice questions.
What's a promotional?
Oh, trying to go from like firefighter, lieutenant to captain.
Oh, I see.
I mean, multiple choice, anybody can figure out.
Oh, hell, I can do that.
But now we have tests.
That was my best testing. Did some of my best work. True and false was really my bread and butter.
Exactly. We have tests that are much better now that are reenacted, but you'll still find people saying, oh, back in the old days it was better.
Right.
I happen to believe that's not necessarily true, that tests weren't job-related. They were, pick up that barbell.
But you got yours the old way. I mean.
I came in under the newer test for sure.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Drew, hold on. Are you kicking me intentionally?
No.
Well, Jesus Christ, don't do that. We're trying to do a radio show. Drew keeps kicking me. I think I'm saying something that's offending the guest.
No.
All right, stop kicking me.
I didn't know that
then.
was your leg.
What do you think it was?
I didn't know. It didn't feel anything.
Can I talk to Sean here?
But
Sean,
Sean, I just want to say that just in general, the question is complex, and I think that you definitely have a really good point, and it must feel really hard that you're getting in and people that you're not getting in, and someone like me who really fell into this job and didn't work for 5 years. I was lucky that I did actually score really well on the test, and I was a woman.
All right, well, listen,
However,
I'm done with Listen,
okay,
get over
he
it,
wants to
John.
go to the sex
That's
scene.
it.
You know, it's
Okay.
interesting. You know how our listeners are as strongly as in favor as affirmative action that the Caroline has made her position. We're going to have people attacking her.
No, she didn't make it.
But I don't. I'm like.
You came pretty strongly in favor of. You argued in favor of it as something.
Did I? Oh, because I feel like maybe in favor, but I really feel very sympathetic to the people.
Well, I think everyone's on about the same plane with this one, which is they feel like, a lot of injustice was done to minorities and women in the past, and we'd like to do something to rectify that, but maybe there's a better way of doing it.
Right.
That, I think, is what everyone agrees on, except for me. I just want more white people working. That's more white guys working. Mike, you're 18.
Hey, how's it going?
You a white guy?
No.
Oh.
Sorry.
I want you to quit your job.
Okay.
What's going on?
I was just wondering exactly what tossed salad is.
Mm-hmm.
What is tossed salad?
Where
did the name come from?
Where did you hear about
Who
that?
said it to you?
No, it's like, it was like...
Gay term, you mean?
Huh?
Is it a gay term?
I think so.
Well, what context did you hear it in?
It was something about, like, there was, like, this movie and these guys were in jail.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, talking about dropping the soap and stuff.
Yeah. Well, listen, if they're gay guys and they're talking about salad, they're not talking about going to the Sizzler. You understand? There's has something to do with someone's butt.
Well, like, what is it exactly?
What the hell do I know?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I figured you knew.
I know what a rim job is. I know what felching is. Drew told me about that when we were camping.
Anal sex?
Please, Drew. And I'm not sure what a tossed salad is, although I have heard this. Haven't you, Drew?
Nope.
Okay. Caroline, you're from San Francisco, don't you know?
I'm the expert. I have not heard.
We learned about a fruit bowl or something like that. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. What is the fruit bowl?
Is that like a lot of...
All I want to know is if someone...
Fruit ball, that's the name of a gay bar,
Mike
isn't
knows,
it?
Mike knows.
The fruit ball?
Come on, Mike. Get on right here.
If I remember correctly, not that I have this knowledge intact, it's when a guy bends over and he puts his stuff sort of behind him.
Right.
And it kind of sticks out the back, kind of in a crying game sort of way.
Yeah.
That's tossed salad?
Yeah, no,
that's the fruit bowl.
That's the fruit bowl. We used to call it the wax, pear, and banana. But it's, I guess, the same thing. In North Hollywood, we had our own lingo over there. All right, Drew,
what did you call your...
Don't pick those calls and humiliate us.
What did you call
guests.
your jacuzzi activities?
The Big E? Don't embarrass me in front of the ladies. It's taken me 1.5 years to get this Alexandra to warm up to me. And you're going to ruin it all.
I feel warm towards you.
That's what I like to hear. Tracy?
Yes.
You're 30.
Yep.
What's going on?
My question is, well, my husband's been gone for 5 months. He's in the Army Reserves, and we plan on trying for our third child. And I'm just calling to find out if the longer a man goes without sex, his sperm is more potent.
No.
No?
Because I assure you, he's been releasing sperm somewhere or another.
In probably like 9-hour intervals since he's been gone.
No, actually, they can get busted for that.
They can?
Yeah. They get an Article 15 or something like that.
Oh, my God.
That's ridiculous. Why? That's ridiculous.
I know.
It makes them fight better.
Wait a minute.
You mean you can't masturbate?
No.
Well,
they do a bed check, so they check the sheets and everything.
Oh, who's on that detail?
I mean, the premise of not committing adultery or not having homosexual sex is that you could be bribed and you could become a spy. That was one of the reasons, and it doesn't seem like masturbation falls in.
Well, how they do it is they take the quarter, they try to bounce it off the cot, and if it sticks, and then they have to use a spatula to get it off, it means the guy's been screwing around. It's a little
there's no way they
variation on that test.
A army of men not to do that,
right?
Unless they're in battle.
I think it's normal, but
even then, I think I could
So
let
me ask you, so if you don't, let's just say you don't masturbate or make love,
Yeah.
does the sperm become more concentrated?
There will be more concentration up to a point, and then it will start to back off. So it's sort of a point of diminishing return at about a week or so.
Will it be damaged or healthy
No.
or?
Believe me, look, your body releases it. There'll be as nocturnal emissions if the guy isn't masturbating.
Hey, Tracy.
Yeah.
Do you have cable?
Yes, I do.
All right, start watching it, would you? Put it on that Discovery Channel. You're 30 years old, for Christ's sake.
See, the
You
reason
think you're
I'm
going to have a baby with 3 arms because your husband didn't whack off for a week?
No, the reason I'm asking because we miscarried in November last year. So.
What is it whenever I'm mean to someone? Something horrible happened to them recently.
Every time.
I know, I always feel like an ass.
Oh no, I'm fine.
All right, you have 2 kids already, though, right?
Yeah.
Your husband's in the Army?
Reserves.
All right, what's he do for a living?
Well, right now he's just doing the reserves. When he
Okay,
comes back,
that's
he's going
enough.
to
That's enough.
LAPD.
His Uncle Sam's paying him 10 grand a year. That's
No,
enough. You
not
got 2
really.
kids. That's enough. You can't afford 3 kids. You can't afford them. Your husband makes 20 grand a year. That's a good year.
Well,
Are you working?
I babysit.
No, that ain't working.
I'm
Leave her
Let's
alone.
watch it.
Yeah, leave her alone.
Listen, the woman has 2 kids already.
Don't listen to
Her
him.
husband is barely employed.
So you
That's
think
enough.
this is an act of God?
Yes. Yes. No, I'm saying she's got 2 kids. She's babysitting. Her husband is partially employed. You really need 3 kids when you know what I mean? Drew, you got 3
I'm
kids. You
telling
make a
you.
ton of money. You can barely afford it,
Yes,
right?
3 kids are
Yeah,
incredibly.
but she didn't call. She called about sperm, not about.
All right, but I
Catholic
saw
preaching,
past the sperm, up the urethra, and into the nads, right, Drew? I always read more into any question we get.
Hey, I
But
gotta-
don't you think it is a form of abuse? Abuse is a strong word, but you're doing your kids an injustice
Yes, I agree
by
with that.
trying to raise 3 of them
But you
on
can't handle
19
it.
grand a year.
Well, not just money,
She's
but
independent. I mean, I.
Well, you
my
know, it's
personal
nice.
opinions
It's
about.
I mean, we're all about not telling anyone what to do with them, with themselves and their reproductive systems and all that. But listen, make it an incentive.
I made a film last year about overpopulation. So
That's
can I
right.
please talk about
Yes,
this
go
for
ahead.
a second? It's from an overpopulation point of view, world overpopulation, and an environmental point of view, and that's what I'm speaking from. Experts recommend that people have 2 kids or less per couple, and if they want more, they can adopt. Now, some people
That's
want
good.
more than 2, and then they have to. And if they don't,
why? I mean, who needs? I mean, 3 is saturation. Let me tell you, 3 is hard work, and it's incredibly expensive
I
to
can't
do
tell
properly.
you. I mean, we.
Incredible.
Yeah,
We have
were
a brother,
surprised. They
but
didn't
we
know.
had a brother, and Mom was pretty tired after the 3 of us.
I don't know.
Is it you have 3
There's
siblings?
3 of us.
No, it's
yeah.
3 of us in all.
Right.
But in the
But it's
60s, that was
hard,
good.
and also financially, you need to really look at it, and
Yes.
I think that's a good point.
Alexander, we'd make a great couple. We wouldn't have kids. You could work out. I could masturbate to you working out. It'd be a totally symbiotic relationship. It'd be tremendous. Wouldn't that be a great relationship, Drew?
I don't know. Hey, she'd kill you. Okay, as facts here. I heard you guys talking about the morning after pill. You guys said there should be public service announcements about it. Just thought I'd let you know that here in Washington State there is such a thing, and that this state has made the morning after pill available without a prescription, and they're advertising it on our show.
Really?
On Buzz 100.7
Is it-
FM.
Now, may I ask you a question
Yes.
about the morning after? Doesn't the morning after pill, isn't it able to be duplicated by birth control, a certain way of taking birth
That's
control
what it
pills?
is. Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh, that's what it is.
No
But
way,
it-
really?
But it
You're
is a
like-
combination of certain birth control pills, right, Drew?
Well,
It's not
it's
a
not,
pill.
No,
no,
it's a
it's
pill.
taking one
pill,
immediately within 72
Within
hours,
72
and then
hours.
2.
taking 2 a day for 3 days.
All
or
right,
4
Drew,
a day.
that,
depending on
let me
the pill.
explain. That's
And they
7
just gave it a
pills, you
different
jackhole.
name?
But it's not multiple different pills.
That's
It's
why
just-
it's obvious that they call it the morning after pill, because it should be the morning after pills.
Yes? And
Yes.
It should be the few days after pills.
Yeah.
What do you think of this?
The 72
3-day
day.
It should be
pills.
the why didn't you use a rubber?
Yeah, yeah.
What about
that
this
too.
RU486?
But what if it's available without
That's
a
what it is,
prescription? I
right?
can't believe
No.
this.
That's not what it is.
RU8486 is a pill that came from
Right.
France.
What are your feelings on
is
that?
I feel that it is fine.
You feel it should be here.
What it does is well, Drew,
an
doesn't it
abortifacient.
loosen the
Implantation.
the implantation from
Yeah,
the...
it's basically
Okay, hold on. Brian knows what a tossed salad is.
Oh,
at,
excellent.
At 16, at the tender age of
But
16.
you're not shocked by this? The morning after pill available without a prescription in Washington
Good.
State. That's
God
phenomenal.
bless him.
But I have
They're
a
very
question for you. I mean,
produ-
why is that? Oh, because
That's weird, because
you don't have to get a
pills, you have
prescription
to have
for
a
condom, do you?
No, but for birth control pills you,
You
do. And this
do.
is a little more dangerous.
Listen, you have to
taking.
get, and also for a diaphragm, you have to get prescribed.
Well, you got to
'cause it
get
has to be
fitted.
fit.
You got to go to a Jewish guy who has a cloth tape measure hanging around his neck.
So what's a tossed
Don't have
salad?
to worry about these things.
What? There's such a big vagina already. Honey, what have you been doing? All
What's
right.
a tossed salad?
What is tossed salad,
What's a
brother?
tossed salad?
It's like, it's mostly used in prison. Like my friend's brother went to prison, and it's when one guy jacks off, and then the other one eats his asshole out.
Okay. All right. Thank
That's
you,
a
Brian.
tossed salad?
Yeah.
And so if you got a crouton with that, you'd be in pretty bad shape. I got get a little zesty ranch in your eye. And, oh, boy. See, we really shouldn't have asked. Listen, I told you.
Drew, now we got to figure out whether that's actually true.
Any gay lingo has to do with the ass. That's it. It's got to do with the penis and the ass.
Hold on. You mean you straights just... No, come
You think?
on.
Well, he also,
You're
you know what he's also saying? He's also saying gay just has to do with men.
No, I'm saying men. I don't mean
Okay,
I don't
well, you
mean
have to define
female
your
gay.
terms.
Sorry, Caroline.
Caroline thinks you're a bad lover because all you think about is the penis and the ass.
Oh no, I'm good.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, if you come over to the dark side, I'll show you.
God bless the penis.
But what are some?
I didn't say that.
Give me some lesbian lingo. Is there any good lesbian lingo?
I don't know. We don't.
See, the gay men got that down. You know what I mean? You don't hear the lesbian lingo, do you,
We
Drew?
don't speak like that.
That's right, because you're women.
They're superior.
Lovey-dovey. No.
I mean, women have
like-
a more superior quality about them.
Well, they
Face it,
have
do.
a certain amount of time to dedicate towards stuff that doesn't really
Be
matter.
more poetic. Tossed salad just doesn't do it. It'd be more like, the moon and
Right.
this ocean and...
My grandmother asked me what a rim job was once at the dinner table. I kid you not. Do you know what the rim job is?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay. Really?
Well, I know because of actually a play called Nuts that Barbara Streisand did. She talks about
The rim job?
a rim job. She plays a prostitute. And that's how I learned from my acting class.
Wasn't that gay porn you did on PBS?
Now, I just want to know why,
Yes.
like, all this sort of varied sex, you act like, oh, my Lord.
Oh, he's
So
just
you
playing
must be,
innocent.
like, yawn 3 minutes, okay? Let's admit it.
3 minutes including the yawn? 'Cause the yawn's about 10, 15 seconds there. Yeah.
Oh, let's help some people.
Yeah, let's go.
Sean?
Yeah.
You're 21.
Yeah.
You're on with the beautiful Paul sisters, the twins.
All right, I have a question for Dr. Drew.
Yes, sir.
My girlfriend has had an eating disorder for quite a few years now. Ever since she's 15 years old, she's now 20.
Mm-hmm.
She hasn't had her period on a regular basis. In fact, very little, if at all. We have a sexual relationship, and she's on birth control.
Mm-hmm.
And so she said to me that it was very, very almost impossible for her to get pregnant with the two things combined.
Reasonable.
And but the other day, she told me that she might have had a miscarriage.
Why?
She said that she was in the shower 2 days late with her period, and all of a sudden it was very heavy. And that she had talked to her mom, and that she described her miscarriage, and that it was very similar.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, that was not a Hallmark moment.
I don't know. Oh, yeah, was she talking to her mom?
Mother and daughter sitting around and talking about miscarriages. Oh, boy.
I mean, she is likely to have irregular and abnormal periods.
She
just by
still
virtue
has
of
an
her
eating disorder?
Yes.
Which one? What is it? What is it?
Pardon me?
How does it manifest itself?
The eating disorder?
Yeah.
Yeah, is she underweight?
Pardon
me?
Is she underweight?
Hey, Sean, I'm going to come in there and kick you in the side of the head. What'd she do with
She's
the
bulimic.
eating? She's bulimic.
Bulimic, right. Again, her periods could be very irregular. It would not be totally out of context for her to have an abnormal heavy flow, even on the pill. Okay. So it doesn't necessarily mean she had a miscarriage. And it's hard to understand how she could have one if she was taking the pill properly, and if she also was not ovulating because of her eating
All
disorder.
right, but Drew, give him the speech about being bulimic, will you?
Yeah, is she getting treatment for bulimia?
She has been through treatment and is currently doing,
Going away or something? What is she doing?
She goes to, weekly meetings and has been through a treatment, since.
Is it relatively contained right now, her eating disorder?
Yes.
Okay.
Drew, when I'd heard that when women don't have their periods regularly, it affects their bone density.
Absolutely. That
So
women
that's something to be concerned about.
Well, she's on the pill, though, so that tends to reverse that issue. It's from being under-estrogenized that develops.
And the pill adds the estrogen.
Speaking of eating disorders, I'm going to read Alexandra Paul's eating regimen right here from the pages of Fitness
I actually did have an eating
magazine.
disorder, Adam, so you don't...
listen,
over it now.
What do you mean did? You still have one. For breakfast, she eats 6 boiled egg whites and granola. I kill myself at brunch. That's what that's my eating regimen. I eat 6 egg whites and kill myself at brunch. All right, well, let me just continue. 2 hours later, a protein bar and more egg whites. Lunch is a baked potato, cottage cheese, and peanut butter. Wow, I could go for that's like stone food. You had a banana in there. You get like some Captain Crunch. You got some good stone food in there. Midday, she eats herself egg whites, more egg whites again. And dinner, pasta with non-fat cottage cheese and mixed in. That's what my dad used to do.
There's not a lot of fresh fruit and vegetables.
Oh,
that was
that's
actually
horrible.
my regimen for the Ironman. And
Oh.
I haven't had egg whites for a long time. But Adam, I did have an eating disorder.
You
I
did?
was bulimic for 12 years. And
12 years?
And
Wow.
I have been, I've been sober.
From what year to what year?
For 6 years.
Really?
Yeah, 6 years. Over 6 years. 6.5 now.
Oh. Did your mom make you take ballet lessons when you were a kid? Because that's really no modern tap, anything like
Listen,
that.
it afflicts so many women and quite
I know, but
men too.
Everyone we talked to, their mom made them take some kind of dance lesson when they were a kid.
Oh, and so
I
they
swear
want
to
to
God.
be really thin.
No,
It's
it's
just
more
something.
it's sort of intrusive parenting tends to be more associated with eating disorder. Parents that were over-controlling at a critical time.
Did you have
I
that?
do remember that I freaked out when my mother could wear my clothes. I thought, oh my God, I don't want to be like my mother. So I had a major I don't want to be, and it was sort of like having trouble becoming a woman.
Was your mom intrusive? Was she over domineering?
No, I did not feel that at all. I think she was a wonderful mother.
Oh, really?
Can you tell how she?
You guys came out fine. There's a
Well, I think
couple of bad
this woman's
15 years
really
in the
lucky
middle
that
there,
she
but
has this great boyfriend.
Yeah,
They seem to
I
have an
agree.
open relationship, and that's a big.
Oh, you got a boyfriend?
Step.
No, Sean.
Sean.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good.
Adam, stay with us.
Yeah. Well, I don't.
We gotta go to
pointing
break.
at her sister. All right. I had an eating disorder when I was a kid too. It was,
I know.
Mom, could you quit smoking pot and go to the effing store once in a while? That was my eating disorder.
No, then you go to the neighbors.
Yes. My neighbors had eating disorder. It was me showing up around dinner every time and cleaning out their cabinets.
Pie filling and Count Chocula.
Hey, what are you going to do? All right.
Do you have heavy periods too?
I have spotting and a heavy flow, but okay. And Drew and I, our period has started syncing up ever since we started working again. The Paul sisters are here. What don't you want to know about these two? They're willing to tell all. Fighting Fire is the name of the book. It is out all over the place, and we'll be back to talk a little more about that. Yeah. Alexandra Paul is here. You know her from Baywatch. Caroline Paul is here. You know her if you've ever been to a fire in San Francisco. She's a 9-year veteran of the San Francisco Fire Department. When do you get to? Well,
I don't know.
She's just being humble.
No, I'm not.
Well, here's the deal. As far as I know, but Drew can look up the word veteran when it's not pertaining to people involved with wars or military. Your first year, you're rookie, and your next year, you're veteran. I think, like in the NFL or in professional sports, I think you're either a rookie or you're a veteran, or maybe you're just a rookie, then you're something else, and eventually you become a veteran. But they don't have any. They don't really have.
I don't know the handshake yet. It's just.
At 9 years, I think you're a veteran. All right.
So
Fighting Fire is the name of the book. Yes. Sorry.
Speaking of military and definitions,
Oh,
I
that's
think
right.
we have.
A person of long experience in some occupation or skill.
Okay, but doesn't give a number to that.
No.
Okay. Thomas.
Yeah.
You're 25.
Yes.
What's going on?
What I wanted to make a comment about. There was a lady that called in about her husband being in the reserves.
Mm-hmm.
And about the masturbation thing.
Right. What their policy is about that.
Right. Well, I was stationed in something more stricter than that. It was called the United States Marine Corps down in Camp Pendleton, California.
Semper Fi.
Right. And I didn't get caught. Well, I got caught, but there was no office hours or anything like that happened to me.
You mean no penalties?
No.
Just shame? Did they shame you in front of everybody or something?
Yeah, I got harassed because I was in Motor T school down in Del Mar.
Well, what's the reason that you can't, masturbate?
What?
What's the reason that you guys aren't allowed to masturbate?
I don't know what it is. I think it's just a machoism thing.
Keep you more aggressive if you don't
I think it
release
makes you
yourself.
fight back.
No, it's just
Who wants
a barrack full of guys whacking off?
Prostitutes over in Asia and stuff. That was
Yeah, well, when I went in, I was from 93 to 94. Is when I was in, just for a short period of time.
Maybe they've loosened up on the masturbation policies since then.
Well, the thing is, it's like, don't ask, don't tell. And they still give you harassment. Like when I was in Del Mar, I had an instructor, and he said he wanted me to go find a woman at the E-Club and bring back her panties. So I ended up sitting down at the E-Club, and saw this woman. She was kind of large, and she was drunk off of Long Island iced teas and whatever else. And we just began to talk and everything. And next thing you know, I'm out in Laguna Hills.
Did you have sex with her?
Yeah, of course. It was my first time.
Thomas, what are you doing now?
What am I doing now?
Yeah.
Well,
that's enough.
I'm over in Santa Monica at this homeless shelter.
All right. Be good. Don't hurt anybody.
Yeah.
Don't hurt yourself.
Hey,
yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm a Caucasian still trying to look for work.
He's at the homeless shelter now.
Well, actually, they do have affirmative action at the homeless shelter for white guys. I don't know if you know that. That's the one place in town where they let you to the front of the line.
Didn't know that.
No, absolutely. White males get their pick of the litter over there at the homeless shelter. Tom, how come every time we have someone call in to explain something that we didn't know the answer to, they either confuse us more or they sound like they're drunk and they don't really have an answer?
Every time.
Would you agree with that?
Yes, every time.
Let's stop doing that. I mean, we ask what a tossed salad is, and we get some 15-year-old kid going, my brother was in jail, and he was, like, banging this dude from behind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now we got a guy who's at a homeless shelter. He's explaining. What did we learn?
You need to have an expert. You need to have sort of an expert that you can call on that's for,
Now, here's the bottom line. If we don't know what the answer is, there's no answer.
Oh, okay.
This Thomas, he got caught masturbating once. No one did anything, but he wasn't supposed to do it, but there's no policy, but he didn't get in trouble. But the DI told him to go out to the bar and get himself a big pair of panties.
Though. I thought it was interesting.
All right. I wasn't amused. Robin?
Yeah.
You're 15.
Uh-huh.
Now, this is the question that Caroline wanted.
What's going on? Robin?
Yeah.
What can we do for you?
Oh, boy.
I like to get into relationships that, I like it when, like, guys hit me.
Mm-hmm.
And, huh?
Did your dad hit you?
Mm-mm.
Really?
Who hit you when you were growing up?
Somebody hit you.
No.
How many relationships have you had when guys hit you?
About 7.
You're 15.
You're 15.
Yeah.
Are you talking about during sex or just day to day during the day?
Or just a general beating?
Yeah.
That's different.
Do you leave the guy after he hits you?
No.
And is it because you start a fight, or you start a fight so you can be hit?
No, I just like some guys like to hit the women.
And you just seem to find them?
I like it. I
Hey, Robin?
Yeah.
Answer the questions, please.
Mhm.
Do you just, was it happenstance that the guys that you're attracted to, you later find out that they hit you?
Yeah, sometimes it just happens.
Or do you say, hit me?
No, I don't ask for it. They just do.
Okay, so you don't base the relationship initially on the fact that they're hitting you. It's just the guys you pick seem to end up hitting you later on in the relationship.
And you like it?
Yeah.
Who hit you when you were growing up?
Nobody.
Somebody hit you.
No.
Do you remember your childhood?
Yeah, some of it.
Do you remember much of it? How old are you?
Let me ask the questions here, Drew. I'll get some answers. Where's your dad?
He doesn't live with my mom. I met my mom
Mm-hmm. When's the last time you saw him?
yesterday.
Mm-hmm. How long have they been divorced?
About a year.
Mm-hmm. No stepdads, mom's boyfriends around?
Boyfriends.
What's that?
My mom's boyfriend.
Yeah. He ever touch you in any way?
Well, when I was younger and when they were together, he was kind of abusive, but not really.
Your dad?
No, my mom's
The boyfriend.
I thought they broke up a year ago.
Then my mom was with a guy, and then she married my dad, and then she left my dad for the guy again.
And this is the guy that was physically abusive. And did he abuse your mom, too?
No, my mom's been abused a lot, but he wasn't really abusive to any of us, just a couple times.
Okay, listen, first off, your phone's driving me nuts. I don't like to abuse the guy who installed that phone. Here's the deal. Somebody has been abusing Robin. Not the biological dad. Seems like the stepdad. Either he was or he wasn't. He abused
mom, abusing everybody.
Look, she was abused.
Yes.
End of discussion. Now she's trying to recreate that, master that in her teen years via her relationships. Now she's calling us because she looks at it as a problem.
That's good that's a first step here,
No,
right?
but she said she liked it.
Yeah.
But isn't it sometimes a form of attention?
Oh, of course.
But is the question here how to change that, or you're just wondering is there something wrong with being that way?
Yeah, is there anything wrong?
Yes, it suggests that you're really acting out. You're trying to work out some very significant traumas from the past, and I suggest that you really think about some professional help to in fact work these things out, rather than get caught in this cycle of being involved with continued abusers that will always leave you miserable and unhappy, and ultimately one day maybe destroyed physically.
And also your kids, if you have them, if you pick a father, it just passes on down. Do you have a counselor at your school?
I'm not in school right now.
Because it's summer?
Yeah.
Really?
It's summer already?
We got out early. We started school early.
Okay. Robin, how old's your current boyfriend?
17.
Do you have kids?
No.
All right. No kids, tons of contraception. Don't be with a guy who beats you, please. I know you like it now, but you want to heal yourself, don't you? I mean, don't you want to lead a nice, normal, happy life like everyone else claims to be leading, even if we're miserable? Yes, you do. That's why you're calling.
I have a question for you.
I didn't hang up on her. I'm just putting her on
Robin,
hold.
I got a question. I'm just curious. You say you like it, but you did call thinking as if this was a problem.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming, help me, work that out for me.
I try to talk to my friends about it sometimes, and they just look at me like there's something really wrong with me. But I don't look at it as it as a problem.
Do you think he loves you more when he hits you?
I don't know. I just like it.
It's a problem, okay? You may not look at it as such, but it is a problem. Just look at the fact you've had 7 boyfriends.
And
they're 15, they've all been trying to hurt you.
Listen, everybody out there, replace the word like with need. And I think we'll be living in a much more honest society.
Well, let's figure out who she can go to for counseling since she's out of school. Drew?
A county hospital. County mental health services.
Do you go to church or temple or anything like that?
Another place. Clergy is a good place, too.
Oh, she's not Jewish. Her mom would kill her.
Robin?
That's where the real beating would come in.
Robin?
Robin.
Yeah.
You're not Jewish, right?
No.
Do you go to church then?
No.
Okay.
Do you have anybody you can talk to?
It's an adult.
No, not really.
Okay. Do you feel comfortable calling the county hospital and asking them for?
Or Department of Social Services. Let me give you a youth crisis line that can help you in developing some resources near you. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Got a pencil?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you repeat this number.
Okay.
1-800. 522-8336.
1-800-522-8336.
Right.
All right.
Give it a call.
Okay.
All right.
What are the last 4 digits?
I don't know. I just memorized it. 8336.
You see, I can always stump our listeners. Listen, Robin.
Yeah.
Don't waste our time, please.
Okay.
All right. Enjoy your life. Well, she'll do it, whatever the hell she's doing, until she gets tired of doing it, and then that's it. You can't.
But maybe someone else out there was listening.
Oh, that's the key to this show. But how are you going to undo what some animal of a stepdad spent many years doing?
Well, you
You know
can
what I
undo
mean?
it by talking to someone in therapy. It
That's
does.
right.
It is possible to get done. You can break the cycle, but it's not easy, right?
Oh, I hate everybody. Except for the Paul sisters.
Oh.
I'll tell you, that symbiotic relationship of you working out and me watching you and appreciating it, it'd really be something important. I'd feel better about myself. You'd feel better about yourself.
Yes.
Oh, yes. That's what I like. All right. Now we got to go to break, Mike. All right. No, I'm playing music anyway. What the hell? Fighting Fire is the name of the book. Drew, let's pick some happy calls when we come back. Like Rob, who blacks out when he drinks. Now, that sounds like some comedy. All right. We'll tack that with the help of the Paul sisters when we come back. Alexandra Paul and Caroline Paul
What
are
do you
here
mean?
because you know what I'm talking about.
No.
You're chatting up Alexandra Paul. We're starting up the show.
You know what?
They
you and
follow
I have
your
known
cue.
each other for a very long time. We're just catching up.
I know. You went to Disneyland on grad night in 1982.
87, yeah.
What was that story? And who were
it's
those
too long.
people?
We got into big. Let's just put it this way: the police came. Okay, so end of story.
Yeah, that is bizarre.
It is a bizarre story.
Who were the other celebrities that went to Disneyland with you, Drew?
But everybody wasn't. It wasn't all. People, those are people who became celebrities.
Right.
Daphne Zuniga was there, and
Right.
Jason Patrick,
Right.
and Brian Verity.
Who's Brian Verity?
Very famous actor. You're obviously been in this small dark
You've been
room much
too-
too long.
I don't keep track of the guys. Was he in American Flyers too? No.
Aw,
Okay.
no.
Caroline Paul wrote herself a book. It's called Fighting Fire. The reason she named it Fighting Fire is because she's a firewoman. Firewoman?
Lady Fireman.
Lady
Is
Fireman.
what I've been called most often, but they say firefighter now.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's the PC way.
It's
Yeah.
good fighter.
Right.
Sounds very.
Right. And did you think the movie Backdraft was a realistic depiction of the firefighting experience?
It's a lot of it's sort of realistic, but the fires aren't realistic because in a fire it's pitch black.
Uh-huh.
None of this like nice flame in the corner, run in.
It's real dark.
Oh.
Is it because of the smoke?
Yeah. Very, very black.
You know, the other thing, there's two things, and I don't know this about firefighters, but I do know it about cops. I see it on the news all the time. Whenever I watch one of these cop shows, here's the line: "No time for backup. I'm going in." Then I turn on the news. They've surrounded the Taco Bell. They called in the SWAT team. They've surrounded it. It's been 4 days. No one has gone in, by the way. There's a battalion around the Taco Bell. And they found out that the guy crawled out through a heating duct 3 days ago before they let the dogs go in. There's none of that, cover me, I'm going in, no time for backup. I never seem to see that on the news. They're smart.
Have you
You're
ever
not
seen
running
that in the firefighting shows?
The fire, well, like back...
You know why? Because it's real. That's what we say.
That's right.
Yeah.
In Backdraft, there's this big fire in a textile factory. There's no one in there. I'm going in, and they go right into this burning
All
factory.
true.
All true. And I'm thinking, why are you going in, you idiots? There's no one in there. They're going right in. And then they ask all the fire people, "Is this a realistic depiction?" And it's like, hell yes. Of course.
Yeah.
If they had...
We all look as handsome as Kurt.
Right. If him or one of the Baldwin brothers was playing DJs and they had 12-inch penises, and someone said to me, "Is this a realistic
Okay, the book
depiction
is
of..."
Fighting Fire. Now we're back to the caller.
Look at you, baby.
I know. It doesn't take long.
Listen, baby, we ain't on the truck here. You ain't taking control. Just relax over there. Although I do like this quality of the woman. Rob.
Yo.
You're 25.
What's going on?
You black out when you booze?
Yeah, actually, yes. Well, it's only happened in the last couple months, and it seems to be getting kind of progressively worse. But
Blackout is a sort of a mysterious process, and it tends to occur generally only to people with the disease of alcoholism. And as your drinking goes on, it tends to happen with relatively low exposures to alcohol.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely what I'm afraid of. But and that's exactly the situation. Thing is,
and people are always
like I just
bewildered because it's not like you're drinking a half a liter of wine a day or whatever. You're just drinking a couple beers and all of a sudden you're blacking out.
Yeah.
And that's sort of typical of this disease. It's a cumulative effect. If you if you stop drinking for 6 months, that may not happen subsequently.
Well, the thing is, I actually slowed down drinking
Stop.
for a while.
Stop.
And,
Not slow down. Stop.
well,
I'm telling you. That's the only way this is going to get
Can you
better.
switch the speed?
Yeah.
And because alcoholism is progressive, even if you stop for 6 months and you start back up again, you'll start back up with at where you left off.
All right, Rob, you're displaying signs of an alcoholic, so stop drinking. All right? Meanwhile, I'm going to go home and get loaded tonight. I don't display any of those problems. I just get drunk every night. Right, Drew? Drew's convinced I have a problem. I'm just going up the thing here. Judy.
Hi.
Hey, you're 27.
Yes, I am.
Let's work through some of these calls. What's going on?
Well, I have kind of an unusual problem. I've been with the same guy for about 5 years now, and in about the last year or so, when we have sex, I tend to get physically sick.
You actually throw up?
Throw up. Sometimes it's just coughing. Sometimes it's just nausea.
I've had that happen to me a few times.
That's sex with yourself. We're talking about sex with someone.
No, I'm talking about women getting sick on me. I got to wear a poncho in bed now, like a Gallagher
What's up with the relationship?
Well, it's, kind of the same.
Yeah? How's it changed?
Pardon me?
How is it not the same?
Well, I mean, we're kind of more comfortable with each other. I mean, it's not the same as, the first couple of years you're together.
Are you still really into him?
Yes and no. I mean, we have a 3-year-old son.
You ever get raped?
No.
No? Never, no one ever did anything weird to you? Sexually?
Not that I remember.
Never been attacked or anything?
No.
Well, why is she doing this?
I'm more picking up on it. It's just, it reminds her of how devoid of feeling the relationship is. And it really
Does it
upsets her.
happen every time you are sexual?
Pretty much. We're not as sexually active as we were. So, I mean, it's not like, every night I'm getting sick because...
Yeah, but people tend to curtail their lovemaking when there's vomit involved.
I've heard people describe when they're not involved with somebody emotionally, all of a sudden the physical thing just becomes gross to them.
Really?
They're still kind of forced to serve their time.
It's an aphrodisiac for me.
I know.
I like it more.
And you guys, because aren't sometimes women allergic to, like, condoms?
Yeah, I just think she's just not into this relationship.
Judy, you're not into this, are you?
Well...
No, you're not. What's he doing? What could he do that would get you back into this?
I'm not sure. I mean, I love the guy. He's the father of my son.
Yeah.
But, like I said, we just...
You're not into this. You're just not into it.
So would you suggest counseling for them so they can figure out what's
Sure,
going
I mean,
on?
on behalf of the child, that'd be great. I mean...
That one of those bags they give you in the airplane.
Does he mind? I mean, does he notice? What do you tell him?
No, we're moving on. We don't have time for this.
For God's
sake.
Well, come on. We got people on hold. I got someone on here for 78 minutes. All right,
One that
relax
has
over
cartilage on
there.
his
You want the book plug again?
Yeah,
all right,
fighting
all right.
fire.
Mind your P's and Q's over there. Jason.
Yeah.
You're 20.
Yep. Okay.
You're on with what feels like 3 Paul sisters.
Yeah. All right, here's the problem I have. It's kind of a little bit embarrassing. I got a problem with my codger. There's like a growth on the...
Grandfather?
Codger, what's that?
I guess that's
an old man.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Okay, like right below the head, there's like a... Almost looks like a vein or a tendon that just about 2 weeks ago I noticed it there, and it's always there. And like it gets... Like when I guess, get an erection, it'll get bigger. You can see it around there, but it's always there. Like you can feel it, and it's hard.
Yeah. And you never noticed this before 2 weeks?
Nah, it hasn't been there before that.
Anything happen at that time 2 weeks ago?
Nuh-uh.
Why do you ask that?
Well, I don't know. Maybe some trauma brought it on. You didn't slam it in a door or anything?
No,
You need to have that look like that, Jason. I don't know what you're describing exactly.
It's like right, like I guess the foreskin area right on the side.
Yeah.
It's like a half-inch long, and you can feel it even when it's like...
I get it looked at. And you know how we
Some
usually
sort of-
say get it looked at by a professional? In this case, we'd like it looked at by a complete amateur.
No,
If someone has no idea what they're doing,
a
look at it.
dermatologist or a urologist look at it because there's something's growing there, and it may be just a cyst, maybe nothing, but I don't know what you're describing.
All right, now let's talk to Victoria. She's 14. Been on hold for 50 minutes. How can she get her parents to accept the guy she likes? He's 17.
Yeah.
Victoria, what are you, in the 9th grade?
I'm in the 8th grade.
Oh, the 8th grade.
Yeah.
And what grade is he in if he didn't drop out?
He's in 11th.
In the 11th grade.
Yeah.
A little bit of a spread there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little weird. Like, I remember being a junior in high school. The notion of dating an 8th grader was kind of bizarre, even by my standards.
Is that why your parents don't like him? Because he's older?
Yeah, I think so.
And is he your boyfriend?
No, he's not, but, like, we talked about it, and I went to, but my mom found out through my friend's mom, and now, like, she's just watching me all the time.
What else?
That's good.
What else don't they like about the guy?
I don't know. I think it's just the fact that he's older.
How does he dress?
So I don't know.
Does he wear that
all kids dress this day, I guess.
Oh, they got the Making Bacon T-shirt on? Or is that just popular in our day, Drew?
Is he sexually active? Has he had intercourse? Is he a virgin?
I'm not sure. That's the kind of thing I'm scared.
Are you a virgin?
Yes.
Alexandra actually was in Dragnet, too.
Oh, that's right. The Virgin Connie Squaler.
You know, I just want to say that I think your parents are right.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I think that a boy at 17
Oh.
is basically it's going to be very hard to resist.
That crotch is like a chicken coop that you got to guard when it's 14 years old, and you don't need any foxes or hyenas wandering around. You really don't.
I mean, when I was 14, I had crushes on 17-years-olds. There's no doubt about it. But the job of the parent is to keep us in line.
Well, but any 17-year-old that would go after that is a predator.
It doesn't make you an out-and-out diabolical criminal, but the reality is when you're in high school and you're dipping down to junior high.
It's not to have a relationship that will go on the rest of your life, that's for sure.
Even if it is, there's still something slightly suspect about you. So it's one of these things where, and maybe people are just right this way, it's not only is there an age difference, but he is guilty. He's guilty by virtue of the fact that he's going in to be a senior and he's dipping down to the junior high level to find himself a gal pal. And that, to me, would be very suspect as a parent. If I had a 14-year-old, I want her dating a 9-year-old. Someone who wouldn't hit puberty for another 5 years. We'll be back. Caroline Paul is the author. Alexandra Paul wrote nothing, but she's welcome here anytime.
Right.
The Paul twins, everybody. I feel like there should be some clapping. We are plumb out of time. Caroline, thank you very much for coming in.
Much fun, and I learned a lot.
And it stayed the full 2 hours.
That's right.
Couldn't leave.
Fighting Fire, very attractive looking book. Go out, get there. Not the pictures I'd like to see in a book, but a very good looking cover, and from what Drew says, very interesting reading. Am I right, Drew?
Yes. And you got several. This is Alexandra plugging
yes.
your sister's book. You got several callers who said they liked the book.
That's true.
How many times do you get callers who say
someone
Never.
One who called about the movie stuff?
Yeah, our callers usually don't read. We try to screen them out. Make me look bad. All right, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Come back anytime. Just give it 6 months. So until next time, this is Adam Carolla for Dr. Drew saying mahalo.
This has been Loveline. The opinions expressed herein are not necessarily those of the staff or management or producers or directors or the advertising or anyone, but they might be Bob's.
I'm Bob, and they're mine.
The producer of Loveline is Ann Wilkins. Loveline is a presentation of Westwood One Entertainment.
Arg. We now return you to your highly tested, regularly scheduled programming. Bye.
106.7 K-Rock.